What is going on YouTube? It is Sharks here, and today we are talking about Hyundai. So over the past few years, I think Hyundai has made a lot of interesting design choices. They've taken quite a few risks, and I think before we even get deeper in this video, that should be applauded. I think not enough brands take risks anymore. Hyundai is going out there, putting themselves out there, and just seeing what will happen. If you look at cars like the Elantra N, the new Tucson, these are interesting designs. They're new. Hyundai has taken, like I said, a leap of faith here to put out something brand new and see how the consumer reacts to it. And I think for the most part, people have reacted pretty positively. If you look at a brand, say, now I'm not trying to pick on Audi, but if you look at Audi, their designs over the years don't typically change a ton. They don't take a ton of risk. And that being said, their designs look great. They don't have to. However, by taking that chance, by changing up your design, like I said, it's a risk. It can go good. It can also go bad. And when I talk about going bad, that's where we line up with the Santa Fe. And the new Santa Fe, I'm not a fan. I've driven behind quite a few now. Even this morning, I was going to Walmart, I was driving behind one. That back end, it's hard to look at. From the front, I will admit, the Santa Fe from the front, I'll put some images up on the screen as I'm talking about. The Santa Fe from the front is not terrible. That's a pretty good looking front end, if I'm being honest with you. I actually really like that front end now that I'm looking at it. However, when we look at the back end, that's rough. I don't know why the taillights sit so low. I feel like it could be saved if, let's say, we bump the taillights up, we stop that little wraparound design happening on the rear quarter, and that was just the taillight. I also don't like the taillight design. I feel like it makes the back end look unnecessarily like skinny, whereas that front end looks very strong, very big, very bold. The back end kind of looks like it shrunk down a little bit, if that makes sense. But it really kind of reminds me of a Pontiac Aztek from the back. That's one way to put it. And like if you took a Pontiac Aztek, and you know how the Pontiac Aztek has a little bit of a slope in the back, if you took away the slope and just smashed the Pontiac Aztek back end to make it flat, I feel like that's what you would arrive with which is this. And I've spent a long amount of time trying to get the image of the Pontiac Aztek out of my mind. Admittedly, watching Breaking Bad right now brings it back, but I've been trying to remove it, but the second I look at the Santa Fe, that's all I see. I just see a Pontiac Aztek now. And it's a real shame because, like I said, they did so good with the front. The side profile looks good. I'll put an image up of that too. It is a good looking car until you get around to the back end. But again, by nature, this is what happens when you take risks. It's a risk. There's a chance it could go bad. And was it worth it for Hyundai? I say yes, for starters. This clearly is not a deal breaker for a lot of people because I see these things on the road. Hyundai's clearly making money. People obviously don't have that much of a problem with the back end. Maybe I'm just anal, I don't know. But if we look at the rest of their lineup, like I said, the Tucson, the Elantra, I don't know most of their models lines off the top of my head now that I think about it, but I'll put some of their SUVs up and some of their other crossovers. For the most part, these all look good. So Hyundai took a big design risk, pushing out these very different designs. And of, say, I don't know, 4 or 5 cars in their lineup, maybe more, maybe less, only one of them really looks bad. That's a win. That's a real win. They took a risk, one thing went bad, and again, did it really go bad if people are still buying it and it just annoyed this one guy? Who knows? Who knows? But I think that it should be applauded, their boldness and courage to take a risk. But I also think it should be acknowledged that's not the best looking back end. That's also just not their best work.